Khan. Hey, Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rafakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and as well as the men that taught them, and peace and blessings to all Yoakim out there who pushing his word with all truth and sincerity, and as well as to all you believers out there who believe in on the gospel. And it's a couple of brothers from the Great Millstone Houston camp. I'm the brother Korah Abad. And as always, we've got the beloved brother Tazapah as well.
Shalom.
Khan, and the Wadi Halbashim Al Shai, as always, for blessing us with another opportunity to be able to come forth, and update the sheep, news, feed the sheep, with the happenings that's going on here in the end of the world, which is a lot of things to pay attention to, and there's a lot of things to avoid. There's a lot of, like Trump say, fake news, right? Smoke and mirrors, false FLAGSs, right? But the Lord gave us the wherewithal, you see, the eyesight to see through the BS, and to see down the tunnel and know what prophecy is, man. Know what the latter end of things should be. And that's why in these times that although there's a lot going on, a lot happening, we know the end goal of the whole thing, man. You see, we know what's supposed to happen and what these nations are doing to lead to that very thing being established. And ultimately, it's the will of the Lord. And that's why we should move with confidence in these last days, because we know what's going on. We the ones in the know. You see, we the ones in the know. In that movie, Leave the World Behind. I believe it was Kevin Bacon, his character. Right. That he was sane. He kept his sanity because he understood what was going on. Even the black dude, to an extent. I forget his name, some Ali. But he knew what was going on because he was given the insight. Everybody else was bugging out. How much more on a higher level as far as real life and prophecy, man? The Lord let us know what's happening. So therefore, we're going to be the stable ones, Lord willing, in this time that we are now and to come, man. But you about to say something at the time, Pop?
No, I just saying Khan.
That's it. And Shalom to Allah Akim, Akwa, that's tuning in. Yahweh Bashim Al Shabrakathum.
Shalom.
So we'll hop into it. You ain't got a precept and I don't got none right now. Well, no, I got one now. The brother Daniela just posted when I read this. Isaiah 33 and 6. It says, from GMS, lift up your heads. Shalom. Isaiah 33 and 6, it says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, right? The things that we know, the things that we've been teaching and studying, right? And watching a buildup of it as it's happening. The things that we into, it says, shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is a treasure. So these very prophecies are going to keep us stable in the times to come. Because again, we know, it's like Apostle Peter said, thinking not strange concerning fiery trials. Because we understand these things got to take place, man. But that was it on that. So we'll pop it off. We'll pop it off with the various topics portion of this. So the title of this one is Thursday Live, various topics and digital surveillance to digital prison. Should have put to a digital prison. Yeah, right. But we'll change it. But right, to a digital prison. And again, a lot of these events are end time events. We'll start with this one right here. Right. And we thought the comments was in this little IG post was it was funny because this is the zeitgeist, man. This is spirit of the times, the end of the world. Everybody know we're at the end of the world. So this is another plague that the Lord is sending upon America, upon many other things, right? That we've been looking at, the fires, the earthquakes, you see, storms. Now you got, it says Florida has confirmed 17 cases of leprosy, right? So leprosy spreading in Florida now. It says now called Hansen's disease. Most of them clustered in the central part of the state along the I-4 corridor. Researchers say the disease is now endemic to parts of the southeast, and while armadillos are a leading suspect, since up to 20% of them in some areas carry the bacteria. So now they blame it on armadillos, right? But again, let's read some of these comments. People know what times we're in. This nigga said leprosy. Oh yeah, baby, it's getting real biblical out here, right? It's been biblical out here. It says real days of Noah Now he said Jesus, which is Yahushai, on his way back. Of course, right? Of course. It says crazy storms, more earthquakes, leprosy. Somebody says, Lord, I'm one of the good ones. Right? Somebody said, what's next? Locusts? Another person said it's getting very Old Testament around here. Right. That's the times we're in. Everybody know that we're at the end of the world, but they don't know what exactly that entails. They don't see when the Lord really turn things up and we really get to the end of the world, it ain't gonna be no funny comments. People ain't gonna think this funny or what's going on. They're gonna be scared, they're gonna fear, man. See, we're in between the contraction right now. You know, a woman giving birth, she can laugh a little bit in between contractions. But when the contractions come, she ain't laughing no more. That's these people. They think everything a game, Jake. They think everything a game. You see? But that was it on that advertiser, Paul. Just wanted to highlight that. You had anything?
Nah.
You know, and again, that's that second Esdras 15, how it says the Lord was going to begin to send plagues on Egypt as before. And he just beginning, he just starting. Right. So we'll see where that leprosy situation going if it spread even more. So now another thing on the various topics list, and which is more reasons why America should be destroyed. So now it says there are now 10 states, including Washington, D.C., check this out, that allow abortions all the way up to birth. Now, you know, you had the My Body, My Choice movement a while back. It's still going on, but not as strong. But women feel like, well, these clusters of cells in my stomach ain't a child, right? And even though we know as the child born is getting grown, we don't know how the Lord do it, but he do it. Bones from a little sperm going into the air, you get bones, right? You get eyes, fingernails. You see, to all these different things that's born and created within a baby. But these women feel like even all the way up until 9 months, it's just a cluster of cells. They feel like because in their body they could do what they want to do with it. What the mother in Maccabee said, I don't know how you came in my stomach. I don't know how you was born, but the Lord gave you to me. See, Yahweh Shai is over life and death. Not you women out there just because y'all want to continue to go out to the club. You see, y'all want to be independent. So you killing life within you, man. And now again, there's more reasons why America gotta go, even up to birth now. At first, it was what, two months in before the stomach get big. Now you full blown. The baby moving in the stomach at a time apart. You can feel you can feel her kicks. You see, if you go get an ultrasound, you can probably see a smile, but you want to kill it. Come on, man. What we talking about? What we talking about? You got something?
Yeah, Con. This Psalm 68 and 20. He that is all power is the power of salvation, and God of the Lord, well, Salakia, and unto God the Lord belong the issues from death.
That's right.
You hear me?
That's right. Yeah, Con, that's it. That's spot on.
Okay.
You know, and that's self-explanatory. Unto the Lord belong the issues of death, not women, man. Not you women out there. Not even you so-called government workers either, man. But again, this is reasons why America got to be destroyed. Let's read a little bit. It says, according to a report from the most important news, the United States has now joined a short list of nations that permit abortion at any stage of pregnancy, with Massachusetts becoming the latest state to eliminate all gestational limits. On Monday, Democratic Governor Maura Healey signed legislation that allows abortions through the full 40 weeks of pregnancy. A full person in your stomach. And you know, even how they do the abortions, they stick this little thing up in there, you know. And now I'm thinking about it. How that's going to happen? A full child, a infant in the stomach, say they do go the whole full 40 weeks, right? 9 months. When they do abortions, they usually take something like scissors and just go into the woman's private area and just start pulling out the child, the fetus, you know, before it's fully formed in time past. So you might get a leg, you might get the head, you know, the body. They just pull it out. In other words, the thing is, if they fully born up to how you gonna pull it out now? What gotta happen now with this child? How it's gonna die now? Is it a C-section didn't kill it, or
Yeah,
how?
I don't know.
Or they just gonna pull it out the woman? How? Because they was able to do it in the past because it wasn't so-called fully formed, but a 40 weeks, 9 months, and you gonna come on, man. It says Healy signed a bill amid applause. Right, Healy signed the bill amid applause and smiles. Let's play the video. They was all happy. Women was happy about this. Let's play it. Hold on. Crazy. Thank you. See that the Lord said, "Be fruitful and multiply." But Esau not multiplying. That's why he's trying to, impact everybody else.
It will remain legal. We believe that healthcare decisions should be made between women and families and their doctors, not politicians. Abortion will remain safe, it will remain legal, and it will remain accessible here in Massachusetts. That's my commitment to you.
As a guy who used to say, wicked. Wicked.
Yeah.
Right. Somebody says, so a fully formed fetus isn't a baby, but a man could be a woman. Right. Come on, man. But again, we're in Babylon, a place of confusion. The place of confusion. Mm-hmm. Let me see.
I bring this out. This 1 John chapter 2, verse 15. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes, the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof. But he that doeth the will of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai abideth forever. All right, so it's saying love not the world. This world belongs to Satan, all right? And this is St. John chapter 12, verse 31. And it says, now is the judgment of this world. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out. And this is why you're going to see a lot of, bizarre, new, all right, new things. So that's going back to Jeremiah 30 and 7 of Jacob's trouble. All right, a time like never before. So there's no comparison to this. So you're going to see new things, weird things, wicked things, outright evil. It is the time because the prince of this world is getting ready to be cast out. All right. And, his children not going to go without a fight, And, well, let's just bring that out. Let me get this right quick.
You got it.
I think that's it on that. But there was another point in John. Oh yeah. 1 John 2 and 16. It says, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, this is all the lust of the flesh. These women want to have irresponsible sexual relations. And this is why the STD rate is skyrocketing among them. All right. And, I was arguing with this black chick, when the article came out some years back, I think it was here in Houston, that the STD rates among black women was through the roof. And then, the first thing they rebut with is, yeah, but the men too, but that wasn't what the study showed. They don't deal with logic, but, just showing you that they want to have irresponsible sexual relations. and just discard children. And what that creates is another pipeline of death and misery and a supply of body parts and adrenal, all that other stuff that come with it. You know, that's a feeding into that pipeline. The pipeline already exists, Planned Parenthood, but it feeds into it even more. This is a demonic world. This shit has gotten completely demonic. So it said the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes. All right. All the things that the pride of life is not of the Father, but of the world. All right. This world is not of the Heavenly Father. It does not honor his ways. I had posted a short, in our camp chat. What is this chick? She was talking about the abominations of homosexuality, and the president in the show, I forget the name of the show, but he started going into the Torah, certain laws, to justify. He went into a straw man's argument to justify that it's okay to be a homosexual today. And he went into the law to discredit the Bible, talking about, oh, so, should I stone, my brother? Should I, do this? Going into the harshness and the penalties of the law. Yes, that's what's wrong with this place. There is no justice. That's what's wrong with this place. Yeah, we need the stone. He brought up, different parts of the law to say we shouldn't be worried about it. But this is his society. And people will buy into that because this is a demonic society. Just like they got on Great Millstone, beginning with the apostles, about the grape situation, in which all it was is they was speaking to the law. They were speaking to the law and what the law said. It ain't what Apostle Tahar said or any of the other apostles. They were speaking to the law. And everybody got in emotions. That's what this is talking about. That's this world.
Mm-hmm.
They cater to the superficial things of life. Now the women are caught up. They want pretty men. The fuck is that? Anyway, where I wanted to go, all right, and this is necessary. Psalm 75 and verse 4. I said unto the fools, deal not foolishly, and to the wicked, lift not up the horn. Lift not up your horn on high. Speak not with a stiff neck. And we know from Daniel, that's exactly what he's doing. That little horn, speaking great words. Verse 6 says, for promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south, but Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, is the judge. He put it down one and set it up another. For in the hand of the Lord there is a cup, and the wine is red. It is full of mixture, and he poureth out the same. But the dregs thereof, all the wicked of the earth shall wring them out and drink them. But I will declare forever, I will sing praises to the power of Jacob. All right. But I might read verse 10. All the horns of the wicked also will I cut off, but the horns of the righteous shall be exalted. All right. And that's what you're seeing. This is what you're seeing in the earth. All right. And the wicked have to make they're lifting up their horn on high, making their last hoorah, going for the gold. But anyway, brother, yeah, I guess that's it. That's it. Go ahead,
No, that's it. That's spot on. And so we'll continue on. We got what, 2 more articles left in this various topics portion, and we'll get to surveillance to a digital prison, right? So with this, as we know, with the small hats and the U.S. going to war with Iran, and upon other things like the America running into Venezuela and Trump talking this stuff to the world, Netanyahu moving like a YN and a madman, right? The world's starting to see America and these small hats for who they really are, and nobody want to have nothing to do with them. And that's why the scripture saying Obadiah that eventually Esau will be made small, right, among the heathen. And we seeing that very thing play out. So this was put out yesterday. It says from End Time Headlines, half of Brits want to reduce or end Israelis from entering their country. And again, this is not nothing new. As Elder Tazapah was talking, I was looking at this article and thinking, how many nations did the small hats actually get kicked out of? Because this ain't their first go around that people talking about them leaving. Right. So I just asked this to ChatGPT. It says, how many nations did the Jewish people get removed from? Not in biblical times, but in modern times. You know, and I say biblical times because they'll try to mention biblical times, but that's us. Right. They'll try to mention 70 AD maybe, but that's us. We're talking about the fake ones. But real quick, it says, yes, if modern times, you mean roughly the 19th through the 21st century. It says, especially the period after the 1900s, there were a large number of countries where Jewish communities were expelled, forcibly deported, or pressured into leaving, or effectively driven out. Again, it's not their first time. Here it is. The major modern examples from the 1930s to the 1940s, from Germany, Austria, Poland, Czechoslovakia. It says Hungary, Romania, Lithuania, Latvia, Greece, Yugoslavia, and parts of the Soviet Union. That ain't it. It says in the Middle East and North Africa, particularly after 1948. And that's when they talk about they went back home. If you went back home, the scriptures say in Baruch 4, I believe, or Baruch 2, when the Lord bring us back home, no nation will ever drive us out of our land or surrounding areas again. But soon as you went in, you was bombed, and nations try to drive you out that area, man. You're not the real people.
Yep.
It says large Jewish populations left or were expelled or forced out of what? Iraq, Yemen, Egypt, Libya, Syria, Lebanon, Tunisia, Algeria, and Morocco, man. See, these people not wanted nowhere. Now you even got other Edomites saying, we don't want them here either. So it says half of Brits want to reduce or end Israeli immigration to the UK. I'll read just a little bit. It says, according to a report from the World Israel News, nearly half of British public now fake. And you know who? It ain't just the British. If you did a poll and asked Americans, they'll feel the same way. They'll feel the same. See, the small hats feeling that pressure. Esau feeling that pressure, how the world seeing them and nobody want them around. It says nearly half of the British public now favors reducing or completely ending immigration from the small hats. It says the findings show that 47% of respondents support admitting fewer small hats or none at all. None at all. Right. And it goes on. It reads a little more into it. You know, and all these articles too, and these the videos we go play also in the description box if y'all want to kind of check out the whole thing. But again, this is the spirit of the times. Let me get this quick precept real quick. Obadiah 1, real quick. This Obadiah chapter 1. All right, here we go. It's Obadiah chapter 1, and I'm gonna read the KJV first. Right? It says Obadiah 1:1, the vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord power concerning Edom, concerning the so-called white man, woman, and child. It says, we have heard a rumor from the Lord, an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Right, that was this time right here in after 1948. I forget the name of that dude. I know that Yagada, he went into it before, but when he said how the Jews left black and came back white.
Oh, that's
Forget his name. I thought it was something a dude who used to be a leader in the Middle East. Slocky. No, you may be right about that. Maybe a misnomer.
Oh,
some
yeah.
I forget his name.
Shit, who was that?
Let me try to type it in. I think his name is some Nasir. Yeah, Gamal Abdel Nasir. That's what he said. Gamal Abdel Nasir. He said, right, the Israel is an artificial state which must disappear. Ooh, right, around after 1948. You see? So this was said after then. When you know, try to put yourself in there. But what he said was the Jews left black, came back white. But the point, let me see if I can find that exact white. Where is that? But yeah, he said it somewhere. Yeah, Jews left black and returned white. That's his name, though. Nasir, or whatever. Right. It says Gamal Abdel Nasir was the second president in Egypt in 1956. So after 1948, right? Abdel went on television and radio in the 50s and stated to the Ashkenazi and said, you have left black and you return white. You are imposters and shall never see peace. Come on, man. Come on, man. So again, going back to that, Egypt was one of them. After 1948, that wanted them out of there because they knew they weren't real people. Let me get this, finish this in Obadiah. Obadiah 1:1. The vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord power concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord. An ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye and let us rise up against her in battle. It says, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. You see, the white man have been made small among the world, which is insignificant, man. The word right here is Quatan, right? Quatan in the blue letter H6996, Quatan. It says what? Small, unimportant, insignificant. The least, the least of the flock. The small hat. The small hat. You see, right? The Lord made the small hat and the so-called white man, the small hat. And you know, the whole, he made them despised in the world. It says, thou art greatly despised. What despise mean? Despicable, vile, worthless, held in disdain or contempt. Right, that's the so-called white man right now. And again, hence why even white people don't want other so-called white people around. The Brits feel like the world now because they see, man. They see. You had someone there, Elder Tazapar?
No, you good.
And they see. And you know who see it more, even more? The people who've been going back and forth with the so-called white man, right? These Muslim countries. Right now, this is also a part of prophecy. Like in 2nd Ezra 15, if a brother want to post it, I know I think it's a 2nd Ezra 15 around like 30 and 31. It might be at 30 because I was reading earlier. But how as World War III gonna be happening, you're gonna have the Carmanians, Iran, but you also gonna have you know, the Muslim Brotherhood, so to speak, you know, in defense of their country, their territory, and against America and the small hats. So this new alliance that we'll read with Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan, they signed a defense pact. This is all part of prophecy, man. Not only does prophecy say that America allies will separate from them, but it also says that America enemies and allies will eventually get together. This is all part of it. Let's read a little bit. It says, in a move that binds three of the world's most populous Muslim nations under a single security framework for the first time, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan formally signed a joint defense agreement on Friday. According to a report from the Middle East Eye, the pact includes a mutual defense clause and marks a significant new trilateral agreement negotiated over the past years. The leaders of these three countries, you got it?
No, go ahead, bro.
It says the leaders of these three countries, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif signed the deal during a joint ceremony in Mecca. This agreement, this is why it's happening. This agreement comes against the backdrop of a deepening regional crisis following the small hats and U.S. attacks on Iran. In a joint statement, the leaders declared that the defense agreement reflect their shared determination to further strengthen their collective in the region, collective security in the region and beyond, man. And I believe they said something up in here, kind of like a NATO agreement. You know, Article 5, you attack one, you attack all. I believe it said that in here too, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think right here it says the statement continued and says the agreement aims to bolster collective deterrence against all forms of aggression and stipulates that an armed attack carried out against any one of the three states should be considered an attack against all of them, right? Just like NATO Article 5, you attack one, you attack all. You see? So again, these Muslim nations are not only continuing to even more hate America and the small hats, but eventually they go put their pride to the side, differences aside, and come together. Which the whole world will come against the so-called white man in America and the small hats. But this is the beginning of them try to keep their so-called power, as they will call it, in the Middle East. Let's see what brother posted that precept real quick. Let me get this real quick. You got some other Taza Paul?
Nah, go be.
Can I get this real quick? 2nd Ezra 15 and verse. I'm gonna start at 30, and it's going into World War III eventually. It says also the Carmanians are is Iran. It says also so as Iran getting themselves into war with America, it says also the Carmanians raging in wrath shall go forth as wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and they shall waste a portion of the lands of the Assyrians. It is, and then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature, right? As you a lot of these Muslim nations, like the scriptures say, Ishmael, wild man. He was a wild man. It says, remembering their nature, and if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them. So eventually they go come together. You know, these Muslim nations go come together, and as we see in this little defense pack, we'll see how far it go. You know, and if they, if they really with it. But so Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Pakistan. So that's something to pay attention to. Yeah. Dan y'all put Gamal, Nasser, something like that. Yeah, that's it. Okay. But so we can wind it down, begin to hit that digital surveillance to a digital prison, because it's exactly what we seeing play out. You know, and I'm sure y'all been seeing a lot of talks about these flock cameras, AI, and whatever else it is. Not even pushing it into America to these citizens as if this will be something to help you, right? To get crime off the streets, right? If somebody stole your car, we can find it or something like that, you know? But the thing is that they using this as if they only gonna use it as surveillance so people can eventually accept it. But this gonna be the same thing that's gonna turn into what's gonna imprison the people, man. This AI and these flock cameras gonna be the same thing that they telling you is here to help. Is gonna be used to imprison the very citizens themselves. And that's the time we in. Esau not letting up with this digital system. Let's go ahead and matter of fact, before we play them videos, I'm gonna read this article real quick. Let me know if you got some other Taza Paul. I'm gonna read this article because a lot of people forgot what Trump did with that Stargate. They put $500 billion into a private sector AI project. That ain't go nowhere. They ain't just do that and then months down the line, you just forget about it. No, they still own that. The point is they making it seem like a race, but all nations are on the same page, on the same accord. It's just that America, and well, the nations, they have an easier way to control their people. Here in America, the whole world know American citizens ain't gonna go for that. It's a little more challenging. That's why it seems like America is a little behind in China. They're a little more behind in Russia, right? They're a little more behind in some other places. But that's why Trump and this new cabinet and these big tech giants that's been around him since he got into office, that's why they have been put into place. They're going to lead fast tracking AI and a digital system for the Americans, man. That's why Trump and these people here. Remember, Trump was the one with Operation Warp Speed. Don't forget that. People like to put it on Biden as if Biden, which we don't care about none of them, but as if Biden was the one who came with the juice. Trump was the one who fast tracked it and got it into you people. So they put him in for a second term Trump, you know, like LeBron going back to Cleveland for the second time, right? Trump coming, he getting a championship this time. That's in his mind. He going harder. So he coming with this AI system and he gonna be the one to fast track it, man. Let's read a little bit of this. So this is from the defender.com, right? It says surveillance and censorship. It says investigation healthcare. It's like investigation. It says healthcare driven by technology will lead to more mass surveillance of Americans. It says well before President Donald Trump announced support for Stargate, a $500 billion private sector AI project, Silicon Valley and the DOD. Now remember this, the DOD, which is now the DOW, the Department of War. And we can't forget, because a lot of this gonna go into the small hats being merged into American intelligence and American military. And it starts with the Department of War. That's the pipeline right there from the U.S. intelligence and American intelligence and war. The DOW is that pipeline right there, because Pete Hegseth gotta he gotta hire the person to be in between, to be the mediator between America and Israel. The point is, it says the DOD had already teamed up to transform U.S. healthcare into an AI-driven system, reliant on a widespread collection of personal healthcare data, according to a new investigation report. Now, I had something up in here I was looking for. The department, Peter Thiel. I know it has some. I forget where it's at. We might skip this one. Now, what they're going in this article about is how they're going to use, first and foremost, healthcare, right? Healthcare and then the ID. And then when they got healthcare and the ID, they could tie the AI and surveillance to that as the last step. Forget where it's at. I'll put it. It's in the description box, though. I should have marked it. It's all good. But the point is, they're going to tie all these things together. Let's play some of these vids. Because again, Trump signed this $500 billion thing that's still in play. Remember, they had an executive order he signed to fast track AI. Well, let's play some of these things because the digital prison is upon us, man. So this is a little clip. It says New Orleans testing Israeli developed AI system. One more time, New Orleans testing Israeli developed AI system. Why they ain't testing an American made developed AI system? Right, they merging them. It says to route low priority 911 calls to robots and more severe emergency calls to human dispatches. Now, New Orleans already a crime-ridden city. If you need help, you're gonna need help ASAP out there. People ain't got time to talk to AI. Well, if you need an emergency, dial 1. Right? If you need this, dial 2. Let's play it real quick.
You get frustrated because
New Orleans 911, what's the location of your emergency?
If you have an emergency in New Orleans and call 911, it comes here, the Orleans Parish Communications District, where it's first come, first served.
if somebody calls about a relative having a heart attack, when that call is coming in, we don't know what it is. So calls get answered in the order they're received.
Tensions can run high for the people taking the calls because they can pile up.
New Orleans 911, what's the location of your emergency?
If someone is available, your call goes to them. If no one is available, you go to queue. You get frustrated because you're in a queue waiting and you want to talk to somebody, and it results in my personnel handling calls back to back to back. So increased stress levels on both sides.
Carl Fassold is executive director of the Communications District. He says not every 911 call is a crisis. That includes certain ones for motor vehicle accidents.
New Orleans 911, what's the location?
Or MVAs, as he refers to them. Fasold says calls about car wrecks often surge during the morning and afternoon rush hours, overwhelming his team.
You can't really staff for those occurrences of surges. It's impossible, both fiscally and practically.
To help take on those surges while dealing with a staffing shortage, the district in 2022 began working with Carbide, an Israeli-based emergency communications technology company. That work resulted in the development of an agent powered by artificial intelligence to sort and prioritize calls about motor vehicle accidents.
What we have the AI doing is looking to see if you're calling from within 200 meters of somewhere we know there's an accident already. With the AI handling your incoming call about the MVA, you get instant service.
Here are some actual 911.
43Q04, Gentili Bullock.
Yes.
Please be assured, we are aware of and responding to the situation. If you are involved, require further assistance, or have any additional information, please stay on the line. Otherwise, you can hang up now.
Thank you.
They're brief.
You get a nigga in the background mad. Yes. Right. You know, you got something?
No, not yet.
And just to show how easy it is to get into these flock cameras and track people, check this out. A lot of people been doing this, and it's been coming out. Police been using these AI cameras just for their personal use, to find a woman, to track an ex. It says, this was put out a couple of days ago, officer allegedly used flock license plate cameras to track boyfriend's ex-wife, white woman, right? It says the North Carolina police officer has been arrested for allegedly using flock license plate readers. And we're going to touch on an article here in a few and show, look, this not just license plate reading cameras. It ain't just for that. They got these things at the golf course now. If it's just for reading cars and license plate, why is it in the middle of a golf course? Why is it in the middle of a splash pad at a park? You see, again, they setting this up around you people. So when the next lockdown come and people like, I ain't getting locked down again, and you try to leave, guess what? You're on camera. Your car on camera. You on camera.
Yep.
It says the Mooresville Police Department was conducting an audit of its flock camera license plate reader system when it discovered Officer Elizabeth Snowman allegedly accessed the system 31 times for personal use. She accessed the computers to find information and track her boyfriend's ex. Just cause. You see? People using them just cause. Right? Another one. Him. Florida cop used flock cameras to track his estranged wife 717 times, exposing a terrifying pattern of officers spying on women. There's been a lot of that too. There's been a lot of cops following women. I'm talking about every move. They stalking them. I don't know for what, but you got women also doing it too. Stalking people. The point is, if everyday little American citizens got the ability to find somebody, how much more the government, man? If this nigga right here and this Edomite got the ability to find somebody when and where they want, how much more the government themselves? Let's go ahead and play this video. Mike gonna go into it. He's gonna go into it. It says flock cameras are quietly turning U.S. streets into a surveillance grid. And people, what he say? See, people think, oh, it's just so it could track your car. Still, even if it was, right? But that's not it though. They got something that's tracking people, your face. We're gonna go ahead and play a video in a few, but let's listen to this one.
Yes, this honey trick prevents memory loss, but if you already have dementia, Alzheimer's, or
Flock is something that maybe 5 years ago, virtually no one had ever heard of. Now, all of a sudden, they're at the forefront on social media of this kind of move to say, who are these guys and who gave them permission to gather so much information about all of us, to track all of our movements? It feels like they've kind of become the poster child for big tech, big brother.
Well, clearly that's the consensus out there, and I agree with that consensus. And they're functioning really as a proxy for government surveillance of the people. And even though I'm not an attorney, there is a Supreme Court precedent that pushes back against the idea that the government can just have corporations do unconstitutional things in its name. And I believe that this situation with Flock is begging for lawsuits, Fourth Amendment lawsuits, possibly First Amendment lawsuits, who knows. But I think those lawsuits are coming, and I'm hoping that they will rule in favor of the privacy of the American citizens.
You know, one of the things that stands out so much to me about these stories that surround Flock is that, again, no one really voted for this, right? No one requested that this company is doing what it's now doing. We've watched this take place where they go to city councils, they get into different cities, and yes, there's approval. It's kind of like the data center thing and the way that all goes down. But there's such a pushback now that even James Fishback, who's running for governor of Florida, and he's doing pretty well in the polls right now, one of his primary stakes as you know, part of his campaign is to ban Flock cameras from the entire state of Florida. I mean, it's becoming that big of an issue where so many people are saying, where is our voice in this? Like, how do these tech companies just come along and decide that they're going to gather all this? And because, as you pointed out, they're a private company, it's somehow not illegal.
Well, yeah, also, what you just said there, I agree with, but also Flock has resulted in false positives where completely innocent people have been misidentified as car thieves, for example, and have been stopped by police, sometimes aggressively, sometimes at risk of perhaps violence being committed against them if they don't respond in the way that the police expect. But if you're driving your car that you paid for down the road, you should not be arrested by police just because a Flock camera misidentified your license plate. Yet that has happened. In addition, police are abusing these cameras. As you know, there have been numerous cases of law enforcement officers at the local level stalking sometimes, romantic interests and using that to basically stalk women and then to pull them over and I guess try to ask them on a date. That seems like the strangest thing imaginable. But it's just a small taste of the law enforcement abuse that we will see if this isn't stopped.
Yeah, I think we call that negative aura to use Flock cameras to track down your potential date. Right. But I do think it's a point worth making. We mentioned it earlier. 21 police officers so far have been caught abusing this system and abusing it in one particular way. The reality is that the entire system is abuse from the top down, the way the entire company is structured. I also find it hilarious that those who have spoken out against them online have gotten cease and desist letters from attorneys for Flock saying people are saying bad things about us. And because they're saying bad things about us, cease and desist, basically clowning us on social media.
Right. Well, I have a round file for those letters if they send me one, because I understand my First Amendment rights as you do very well. But the real threat here, and what's totally insane about this, is that we, the taxpayers, we are paying for the public roads to be built to provide an infrastructure for freedom of transportation. And yet that infrastructure is now being weaponized against us through the Flock cameras that turn over this private data to the government to be weaponized against us in ways that you have just described. We are told by the Flock company that they delete that data after 30 days. Personally, I don't believe that claim at all. I mean, do you believe the ATF deletes, gun purchase records after a period of time? No, they keep everything forever and they weaponize it against you forever. And if they can leverage it against you at any day in the future, they will do so. That's clear.
Yeah, that's definitely clear. And again, because these are private companies, there's zero oversight. There is nobody you can go to in Congress and say, well, let's get some oversight of what they're doing, because again, they're a private company. Well, we have the right to do whatever we want to do. I also find it fascinating, we talked about this earlier as well, that Flock gathers, because it's collecting data from so many different sources, right? It's not just from its cameras, but it's then using that data from publicly accessible databases. And in some cases, they are taking stolen data breach data and they're incorporating that into their system as well. That alone is outrageous, but it's happening. And I'm sure it's not just Flock that's doing that.
The augmentation of data, as you just mentioned, another metadata that can be acquired through various third parties, combined with your vehicle movement information that they are gathering, is a real threat to the safety of Americans, especially women, as we've seen how some of them are being stalked by police officers. But imagine if a local law enforcement organization has a dirty cop. That's never happened before. A dirty cop sells the information to, I don't know, a gang or somebody that wants to carjack you because they know that you happen to be a person of wealth, or that you may have something that they want, such as a child in the back seat of your car, and they get paid a finder's fee for making sure that your child is kidnapped because they can access the flock camera data and they know about your movements. That is the threat that almost nobody's talking about, but it's a very real threat, and this is why we have to ban flock cameras and similar technology nationwide.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I think the idea that, well, listen, you're going to be much safer because of this, and we're going to cut down on crime. The reality is that I would challenge anyone to show statistics to show that these kinds of cameras actually reduce crime or reduce the number of carjackings in any city. And even if they do, which I doubt they do, what is the trade-off for that? So in order to lessen something over here, we're going to all hand over essential liberty on this side?
Right. Well, you know the saying, when people give up their liberty for security, they end up with neither, and they don't deserve either one either. But hey, if you want to stop crime in America, it's simple. Stop the printing of dollars. I mean, that's the greatest crime, I would say, is the mass theft from everybody. But I know that's not the focus of your show, so pardon me for that. But there are many other priorities for stopping crime.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what about the arrests from the Epstein files, for example? Like, go after the actual criminals instead of trying to weaponize and criminalize the American people. They're just trying to drive down to the grocery store or go to the bank and get a little bit of cash out without some cartel finding about how much cash they have because there's a dirty cop that shared the data that they got from Flock. You see what I mean?
Absolutely. And again, to the point that we were talking about earlier, the reality is that none of this is happening in a vacuum. There is not just, well, there's Flock cameras and, well, they're monitoring streets, they're monitoring areas near schools. The reality is that all of these things are being linked together. We've talked for years about how the United States is becoming.
Yeah, I just let it play, but everything being linked together.
More and more of a surveillance state.
You got it.
Okay, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Con.
But we have accelerated into that, especially with AI technology. And what people need to,
and that's the point. Not the point is, but what he going into now. They've been talking, but they've been having AI and these cameras, but now it's accelerating. Things are accelerating now.
Understand too is that AI does not necessarily make any of this better. It actually makes it less secure. It makes it less honest in so many ways, because it begins to, AI will morph video. It will make assumptions that are not necessarily based in fact, and that's hugely problematic if you're trying to create a system of justice.
Absolutely, I agree with what you just said, and I would add that what I think these Flock cameras are really for, in my opinion, is to enforce the coming energy lockdowns. As there will be increased scarcity of diesel fuel and increased pricing on other fuels, you know, because of stemming from the war that we're currently dealing with. Just like we had COVID lockdowns, we will have energy lockdowns, I believe, beginning later this year in the United States, and the enforcement of that will come down to these Flock cameras. And if you are caught on the roads, they can either just send you a fine, or they can come to your home and arrest you and take you away to, I don't know, an energy lockdown center to prevent you from using the public roads or whatever they decide.
And that do make so much sense though. Like, because remember the first lockdown, people, they felt played in a type of way, like, shit, you can't tell me to stop. I even felt like, yeah, I'm about to go outside, right? But the thing is, people eventually got tired and they said, I ain't never getting locked down again. But if they try it now, you think Americans going to just stay in the house, right, 6 feet apart? No, they're going to test the waters, push the limit. Now Esau got it set up. This time, right, and see, as we've been in between these contractions, Esau been planning for the next one. As people been resting, Esau been planning for the contraction. So now if people want to leave, that's cool. You can go ahead and go out. But we got you on camera, right? And then remember how they did stimulus checks for the lockdown? What if they do other stimulus checks now? And then they say, well, we've been catching you, so you can't get your full amount this time. There's so many things that can happen with these cameras and with any false flags from here on out.
Yep.
But again, it's a reason why they're here. So Rock 42, it says, it's a reason for everything being made and they're going to be used for its purpose. What's the reason the Lord had these Flock cameras created? Come on, man.
To do. It depends on the jurisdiction. And you know, the New York Supreme Court has ruled that the state can take you out of your home and put you into a pandemic center against your will, even if they only suspect that you are infected. So that kind of logic will probably be applied to more and more topics, including energy.
Certainly hope we are not facing energy lockdowns at any point in the future, certainly not this year, but I think certainly the groundwork has been laid for it. And if they are coming, it seems to be that everything seems to be in place. I'll give you the last word specific to that before we go.
Well, this is, people condemn China for being a place that has no freedom and there's a CBDC and you're tracked and monitored. Well, that's what's happening now all across America. Mm-hmm. So America is becoming what we used to condemn other countries for pursuing. And if you tie this to a CBDC, then it becomes very clear, oh, if you travel too much, then maybe they won't let you buy gas any longer because now we have programmable money. Or if you tweet the wrong things online, they won't let you leave your 15-minute city radius. They can track you and they can enforce that. So they're all kind.
Right, that's it. You had anything on that to talk about? Now we can wind it down.
Yeah, I bring out Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness, which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. All right, and the cameras, of course, are part of a bigger system that's coming, and yeah, they're gonna be used for a lot of things, but yeah, definitely if there's some lockdowns coming, we already see. If you brothers know the state that this happened in, but it was long lines, man, somewhere in the Midwest. Long lines to get gas, and they were saying that was the last store in that area to have gas. So, and then I heard back earlier spring, going into early summer, that the strategic reserve would run out toward the end of the year, somewhere around August, September maybe. But they don't do nothing but gaslight. That's the whole purpose. Y'all go elect these people to blow smoke up your ass. That's all they doing. They could have just all on top of all, for them and they jets. I bet you they don't, have to start flying them jets. And they got whole highway systems under the ground. I bet they driving underground, in them dumbs and all of that. But, we don't know. And the people let themselves be put in that position of where they don't know. They don't know nothing. And just like the question was asked, what is how did these corporations get all this power? The people don't have no say-so. Well, it's been a long time in the making. It just didn't happen overnight that you didn't have no say-so. It's been going on for a long time, and you show that you're complicit every 2 to 4 years. You show your loyalty to their oppression, so they're gonna continue to oppress you. Nobody rises up. Nobody even pretty much said that. People don't even know what is going on. You ask the average person you run into, what's the 3 branches of government? They don't know. They'll say Obama, Biden, and Trump. But yeah, it's, it is what it is. People violate just natural law and think that they surprised when the consequences come. I say, law like Galatians 6 and 7, be not deceived. Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. That's a natural law, or law you can't get around that. And people have sown violation on top of violation, with other violations, with more violations, and they think that, they surprised. They're surprised that, oh, the government is doing this. And that I can't believe, I'm flabbergasted, you know, at the things that's going on. Because they ain't been paying attention. Most High opened my eyes 30-something years ago, you know, at least to the corruption and the with the police and shit. And that shit was crooked. That everything was crooked. You know, so a lot of this ain't no, so, you know, you tell me, oh, Esau, he allowing the 9-month abortion. Yeah, that don't surprise me. It don't surprise me at all. But right, the unrighteous decrees, all right. This is what's coming down the pike. So, right, he's right. That's an unrighteous decree. Oh, I can't drive my car. And again, y'all flying your jets, you on your yachts and your mega yachts, and that ain't gonna stop. But I got to be limited. That's an unrighteous decree. That's why I say when the read it, verse 2, to turn aside the needy. That's me. A lot of, you know, shit, all of Israel. Needy. To turn aside the needy from judgment. I definitely need, I need some judgment. You know, some justice. You know, we've been done wrong on every turn and still continue to get done wrong.
Right.
And Jake, they seem to love it. I seen a video this morning that Jake said, man, y'all love people that treat you like shit. And he was doing a little stand-up bit, but he made some right points concerning Jake. You know, they love their oppressor. But it says to turn aside the needy from judgment and to take away the right from the poor of my people, man. We got a right to be mobile, to move about. You know what I mean? We got a right to, you know, we have God-given rights, inalienable rights that you can't legislate away. But and people, yeah, you know, people just not paying attention. But it says to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey. That's why Nahum speaks about the prey departed not. You know, our people love it. They don't want justice. They don't want judgment. All right. They want these thoughts and 304s and the thug niggas and all of that. That's what they want. Injustice.
Mm-hmm.
But it says, and that they may rob the fatherless. Right. This is what they looking to do. All right. But yeah, it's unrighteous decrees coming. All right. That's what the cameras is for, to enforce unrighteous decrees. And with that comes the draconian, them speaking as a dragon. Revelation 13 and 11. All right. And them cameras are there to enforce it. Whatever they say, okay, it's an energy shutdown, whatever, okay, bam.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, no doing this, no doing that. It ain't just that, even you brought it up, that's gonna team up with the ring camera. All y'all would had to get a ring camera. A regular doorbell wasn't good enough. You had to see. And now they can see. But it's a digital gulag. It creates a prison and an invisible grid of bars, prison bars that you can't see, but it's there. All right? And wait till they come with the ability to drop you on the spot. This is some of the things that's coming. Go ahead, right?
That's it. We'll wind it down. Again, remember, the small has merged with America intelligence and war. Remember, they ain't just military intelligence. These cameras are part of intelligence. So one thing that's been found out, it says from August 10th, the People's Voice, it says former Israeli Prime Minister spy firm now helping flock cameras roll out America's surveillance network. That's a big deal.
Surveillance network.
Right? That's it. And reading
When they
into
come
this,
in, brother, when them small hats come in, look at history.
Yep.
It's gonna get nasty over here. Well, look at presence. Or the presence. Gaza. That's what they do. How you gonna tell me that's not what's gonna happen? And that's what they do. When have they not done it? Even if you just went into the countries that they've been kicked out from. But anyway, yeah, go ahead.
That's it. I ain't gonna read this whole article, but I just want to make this point in this article that the man who's funding these flock cameras, guess what also he fund? He fund an Israeli online hacking company. So put two and two together, right? We're gonna read a little more. It says, reported he's a Mossad link confidant, and now he is connected to the flock safety cameras appearing in cities and towns across America. Check this out, just to show it ain't just cars they getting, it's people too. We're gonna play this quick one. This at a golf course. So it says on it, it says just a flock camera in the middle of a golf course with zero traffic. This is the flock condor camera. It uses AI to track humans. It can pan, move, and even zoom in and follow your every footstep. It specifically tracks humans across an area. And I seen one of these myself. Remember a couple of weeks ago at the Taza Pod, I had went back home. I was I had went when I went to Louisiana for that week.
Right, I know, but you saw that?
So look, I was at my in-laws' house. And I was trying to go fishing, and in a part of the neighborhood I went fishing in is in the back. And I'm walking up to the corner of the neighborhood to go in the grass area to fish. I see this camera. I wish I would have recorded it, man. I seen this camera. Matter of fact, I might tell her brothers to go out there and record it for me and send me the video. But I seen this camera, and as I was walking up, the camera turned. It turned to me and it was flashing red and it was just looking at me. And when I passed the camera, it turned and zoomed down, looked right at me. I was like, what the but at the time, I didn't know there was a flock condor camera. Now we know it. Let's go ahead and play this video. I'm gonna try to get that clip, and Lord willing, show it on the next Thursday live. But check this out.
This is a flock camera, but it's not a license plate reader. Pay very close attention to the shape of this camera. I'm going to zoom in here. All right, you see it? I'm going to go to Flock's actual webpage, and this is where they describe the different cameras that they have. The one on this pole is actually a Condor camera. This camera is not used to detect license plate. This is to detect humans. And here you go. The Flock Condor camera is used for AI human detection. The built-in software automatically requires and tracks pedestrian movement across the scene. It can pan, zoom in, and follow human movement. So this is not about license plate reading, and this is why it is not anywhere near a car. It's just in a golf course. So this is way beyond what we were told they were going to be. This is for human tracking. This is a mass surveillance network just like China has.
You see that? In the middle of a golf course. Oh, they ain't not the only place. Check this out.
Had been installed inside. A woman in Texas noticed that a flock camera had been installed inside of her park, but then realized it wasn't pointing at the parking lot. It was pointed directly at the splash pad.
Right. It ain't about traffic and cars. It's you people and traffic in cars.
You don't know what a flock camera is? It is a license plate reader, except this camera isn't pointed at the parking lot, which is actually behind this camera. It's pointed directly at a splash pad. How exactly are you checking license plates with a camera that's pointed directly at a splash pad? Who is doing this? And to prove the disturbing position of this particular flock camera, not to mention the multiple others in this specific park, people are filming it, showing that this camera is pointed directly at walking trails, baseball fields, and the splash pad. Families who are sharing this are saying that this is in Anna, Texas at the Rosemont Park, with parents in particular growing more concerned every time they find a new flock camera inside of this park. Meaning they're not watching vehicles? What are they watching? Because what exactly is the excuse for them to be positioning these flock cameras in and around this park, pointed at where the children are playing? Parents first stating that when they saw that these cameras were being installed, they really thought they were going to be pointed at the parking lots, which are in the opposite directions. And whenever the cameras were actually installed, they said it's very obvious it has nothing to do with reading license plates. Just a few months ago, when I made a video about flock cameras, about how 19 officers across the US have been arrested for stalking women using flock cameras, I just checked, that number has went from 19 to 50 law enforcement officers have been arrested for using flock cameras not for their intended purposes, but to actively stalk women.
Right. And check this out. I seen this one today. In New York, you got flock cameras everywhere except one place. And that one place that they not at is where the small hats live. Check this out. It says, it's odd there's not a single flock camera in this section of New York. You see it? Watch me zoom in. Right. That's where the small hats at. Ain't no flock cameras over there. You see? Ain't no flock cameras around the small hat. That's for the Goyim out there. Right? That's for the Goyim. Remember, money is being backed and put in these flock cameras by who? By the small hats. Don't forget they merging intelligence. You see? They merging intelligence. Last one, and we can end it on this. But check it out. How the question is now, how are they able to track your license plate? How are they able to track your phone? Like when you watch those interrogation YouTube videos, when people kill people and they got to get interrogated, they'll tell them, yeah, we knew you was over there on the scene, and the nigga say, no, I wasn't. I was at my grandmother's house, man. And they'll say, nah, your phone pinged off the tower. Right? How they able to track you and trace and see where you at? Let's read it right here. And how they able to do this? That's the point. They don't want it in the cell phones no more. They want it in the people. Let's see how they able to pull up information on these cameras. There's a certain 4-letter word. It says a new generation. Well, it is chip, but RFID is the way. It says a new generation of roadside surveillance. So like, let me read the title. So like, the title. This one is the last one out of Tazapah. It says, this was put out yesterday. It says phone and Bluetooth signals could turn roadside cameras into far richer tracking tools. But how? It says a new generation of roadside surveillance is quietly expanding far beyond photographing license plates, creating detailed electronic profiles that can connect individual phones, smartwatches, and other devices directly to specific vehicles and their movements. It says the defense contractor Leonardo is marketing a system called Signal Trace that pairs traditional automatic license plate readers with sensors to detect wireless signals for nearby electronics. Check it out. The technology captures Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, this is how, and RFID identifiers emitted by everyday devices as cars pass by. They're able to track and pull up this information on cameras by way of RFID identifiers. So now that your phone got one, your car, right, your license plate, you know, your Fitbit, guess what they want? Why they want to put it in now? The person. If we're able to see they could track everybody with these flock cameras because of RFID technology, the ultimate goal, as we know, is the last place they want to put it is not in a phone, not a Fitbit, right? Not in just Bluetooth Wi-Fi, but in the people, man. So now, because now, once people find this out, especially, let's say if another lockdown, they go leave their phone at home, right? They might leave their Fitbit at home. And instead of, taking a car, I'm going to take a break. So now Esau want to cut that out and have it in you. So now if the person leave, nigga, we know you left. We got your RFID leaving. We got your RFID being tracked. See, this is where we at. It's turning into surveillance and it's going into a digital prison, man. The people don't see it, though. We see it, man. We see it. The Lord prophets is speaking loud and clear. That's also what Esau trying to do. They're able to do all this by RFID identifiers, and they're gonna put it in the people for the last step of it, man. Which is the mark of the beast, the RFID here. But that was it on that, Elder Tazan Pa.
See, I ain't got nothing, brother. You can close it down.
I got a quick one. We can end it off on the house scripture. This Revelation 12:12. It says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. So a lot of these different events we about to see, the so-called white man, he gonna move in haste because he know he got a short time to rule. You know, and as we said a couple of weeks ago, haste makes waste, right? So as Esau move quicker, things will start getting a little more difficult for him, man. But we're in some exciting times. But I don't know if you wanted me to take it out, Tazapa?
Yeah, go ahead. You got it.
Well, with that, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. The water for tuning in. Once again, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakadash. And double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and as well as the men that taught them, and as well as all you believers out there who believe in the gospel. You keep fighting, keep pushing, and we're almost out of here. Shalom.
Shalom.